news tonight. He is known as America's Dad, but comedian Bill Cosby now the target of an LAPD police investigation for sex molestation of a then teen girl after high-profile reality star breaks down shrieking, "Screw you, Bill Monster Cosby," claiming Bill Cosby drugs and rapes her in a hotel room. A second supermodel reporting she too was drugged by Cosby. Then a teen claiming he also molested her. She wakes up with him naked. And tonight, a defamation case against Cosby guarantees to land Cosby under oath, forced to either admit or deny sex claims. Bombshell tonight. 3 more women coming forward claiming Cosby drugged and raped them. A 4th claiming he forced himself on her as well, including the girlfriend of showbiz icon Sammy Davis Jr. Ladies, with us live tonight, how many more women did Bill Cosby allegedly rape?
As 3 more women come forward accusing Bill Cosby of drugging and sexually assaulting them.
Caught me off guard, went after me, started taking my pants down. I said, "What are you doing? Stop."
Coming out in support of Cosby, award-winning actress Felicia Rashad, who played Cosby's wife on The Cosby Show.
I'm Nancy Grace. I want to thank you for being with us. Bombshell tonight. He's known as America's Dad, but comedian Bill Cosby, the target of an LAPD investigation for sex molestation of a then teen girl. Well, tonight, 3 more women say Bill Cosby raped me. A 4th claiming he forced himself on her as well. This as his former Cosby Show co-star defends him. But not only that, Cosby back on the stage. Straight out to Gene Casara, CNN correspondent. How many more women is it going to take, Gene, before something is done? I mean, I know he's got enough money and enough power to squash you and me both like gnats between his fingers, but now tonight, and ladies are with us live, everyone, and taking your calls, 3 more women claim he drugged and raped me, and I'm including the girlfriend of TV icon, movie icon, Sammy Davis Jr., his girlfriend. But other women coming forward, 3 more, and a 4th claiming he forced himself on her as well.
That's right, Nancy. It comes to a total now of 25 alleged victims, and the most recent 3 to step forward, 2 alleging criminal activity by Bill Cosby in Las Vegas, 1 in Southern California. The stories are so particular, so specific, and have a common theme of friendship, alcohol, something in the drink, or even a white pill, and then not remembering too much, but enough to know they were violated.
What do you know about the new claims, Gene?
Well, 2 in Las Vegas have to do with the Las Vegas Hilton. One young woman you have on the show today did actually win a tennis tournament and got a seat in the front row of the show. And she will describe her story to you of what happened. Another young woman in Las Vegas was able to come to the show because he had befriended her. She was a therapist at a sports club, and she had actually worked on him. And then she talks about how she was given a drink, she wanted to eat, she couldn't eat. But one that is very interesting was an assistant to the personal agent of Bill Cosby at William Morris for personal appearances. She says she got to know him because she worked with him. He befriended her and her family, and then he talks to her about a career before the camera, wanting her to read a script that ended with a kiss. She fought back, but it didn't work.
Joining me right now is one of the women joining us tonight exclusively, one of the 4 more women coming forward, them 3 of them claiming Cosby raped them, a 4th claiming he forced himself on her. With me is Linda Kirkpatrick, who says Cosby drugged her, forced himself on her, and with her, high-profile lawyer Gloria Allred representing Linda. Ms. Kirkpatrick, thank you for being with us. Gloria, thank you for being with us.
Thank you for inviting us, Nancy.
You know, Gloria, I mean, how much will there be? How many more women will come forward? And tonight the big brouhaha about Phylicia Rashad defending him. Well, Phylicia Rashad, I'm sure, was never attacked by Cosby. He's her friend. Of course she's going to defend him. Any of us would defend a friend. But the reality is she doesn't know him the way these women claim they know Cosby. So, you know, you got to take that defense with a box of salt. Would you agree with that, Gloria?
I absolutely would agree with that, Nancy. And, you know, she said she was misquoted when she said forget about the women, but then she said it's not about the women, it's about his legacy. Well, obviously, it is about the women if you care about women, if you care about women who claim that they were victims of Bill Cosby, who claim that they were drugged and then that they were raped, that they were taken advantage of when they were young and when they were vulnerable. Of course it's about the women, and for her to say it's not about them is almost the same as saying forget about them, which we have no intention of doing.
Ms. Kirkpatrick, thank you for being with us. Ms. Kirkpatrick, what happened when Bill Cosby allegedly tried to force himself on you?
Well, Nancy, the first time, because there were two incidents. The first time that I was in his dressing room after winning the tennis tournament, as was stated, I was given something to drink, a clear liquid, unrecognizable to me. I just know that it tasted terrible.
Who gave it to you?
Very soon thereafter, Bill Cosby handed it to me himself. Bill Cosby.
You know, what's interesting right there, Gloria, is almost every one of these ladies that I've spoken to, and I've read the accounts of the others, they all say the same thing. And this isn't something that Kirkpatrick is dreaming up right now. She has told this story to confidants before. Okay. And what's amazing, Gloria, is how similar the MO, the modus operandi, the method of operation is practically every single time. Linda, go ahead, dear. Okay, you win a tennis tournament. Then what happens?
I won the tennis tournament, and Mr. Cosby said, if you win, you come to my show tonight. And my tennis partner and I did win, but my tennis partner worked at the Hilton and saw Mr. Cosby's show nightly. So that's where I ended up in his dressing room solo. And I was handed a drink of a clear liquid. There were other people milling about. And the next conscious memory I have is watching his show from where the spotlight was being operated. I asked the woman next to me, who I was introduced to in the dressing room, why are we sitting up here? Because I couldn't see nor hear the show. It was very confusing. I don't know how I got there. And she said that's where Mr. Cosby wanted us. The next conscious memory I have, I was in his dressing room. He was on top of me. He was forcefully kissing me, and I remember thinking, why is he doing this to me? And I also noticed that he was wearing a silver ID bracelet, the old style kind from the 70s, and his wife's name Camille was on it. And I remember thinking, one of my last conscious memories is, why is he doing this to me? And even while wearing his wife's bracelet. I don't remember anything after that. I don't know how I got home. The next day I was violently ill. I was continuing on in the tennis tournament. I returned to the tennis club where I had to default my next match because I was vomiting on the court, incredibly sick. I received a message from him at the tennis facility saying Bill Cosby would like you to call him. I called him right then and there to give him a piece of my mind of, you know, what did you do? Why did you do it? How could you do this? I didn't want anything from him. I wasn't seeking a career. I didn't want sex with him. I didn't want anything from him. I was simply accepting an invitation that he offered to me for winning my match against him and his partner. He apologized on the phone. He said he was sorry for his behavior the night before. He said that perhaps I got the wrong idea as to what I wanted. In other words, I felt like he said I asked for it. He asked me back to his room, his dressing room again that night between his first and second show to play backgammon. He said, let me make it up to you. Come back tonight. We'll play some backgammon and then I'll get you that front row seat. I felt it was a sincere apology. I accepted his apology, and I did return the next night, in part to prove to him and myself that I didn't ask for anything. I simply was accepting the invitation that was offered. I vowed before I went I wouldn't drink anything offered there, and I wouldn't drink anything prior to, so that I was completely had my wits about me, just to be completely clear of what was to take place and what wouldn't. I did return the next night. We did play a few games of backgammon, again alone in his dressing room. And at one point he indicated it was time for him to get ready now to go to the second show. Therefore, I felt someone would come soon to escort me to my seat for the show. And much to my surprise, he came at me again. He wrapped his arms around me in a tight bear hold, and where I couldn't get away, and he was forcefully trying to kiss me again. I told him to stop, no, get away, and I pushed him away, and I left, and I never returned. Never called, never spoke to him.
Linda, your story is upsetting on so many levels because it mirrors what so many other young ladies have said about Bill Cosby. The having the drink, the being totally disoriented, waking up with your clothes in disarray, you don't remember what's happened, you're in a compromising position, and that's what you remember. What you said one of the last memories you had was him wearing the silver bracelet that had his wife's name engraved on it, Camille. What was he doing at that moment when you recall seeing that bracelet?
He was on top of me.
Were you lying down?
Kissing me. Yes.
And you
yes,
were,
I was,
what, in his room where he would get ready for the show?
Yes, his dressing room.
What happened to all the other people? Where did they go?
Well, when I first got there, it was before the first show, and the opening act, which was Captain and Tennille, were in the main part of the dressing room where the food and snacks were and whatnot, and there were many other people milling about. And then I had the drink, and then ended up in the spotlight booth with a young woman that I feel had been assigned to me, and then ended up back in his dressing room, and there was no one else. The first night it was just the two of us.
You know,
So
what's another interesting thing, Linda, is that other ladies say that one way or the other, that his groupies or his employees would somehow facilitate their assault. Everyone with us tonight and taking your calls, I'm going to try to get to your calls, is Linda Kirkpatrick and her lawyer, Gloria Allred, who is detailing the night that she says Cosby forced himself on her as well. In the last hours, he's defended by a Cosby Show co-star.
He's a genius. He is generous. He's kind. He's inclusive. What has happened is declaration in the media of guilt without proof.
That's Felicia Rashad on ABC's World News Tonight.
He said, I'll get you a drink. And then without ordering it, a shot of Stoli was brought to me.
He told me we needed to relax, and he offered me a large white pill.
I was lying down. Cosby was on top of me, kissing me forcefully.
For those of you just joining us, in the last hours, 4 more women say America's dad, Bill Cosby, molested them. 3 of them claiming Cosby raped them. And joining us tonight exclusively, Linda Kirkpatrick, who says Cosby drugged her, forcefully pushed himself on her. With her, her attorney, Gloria Allred. Now, she's not in show business. That photo I just showed you, she was a tennis star because she just won a huge tournament. Cosby offered the winner a trip to a show. She goes to the show, and that's when all of this unfolds. We are taking your calls. Linda, you just went through what happened. The last thing you remember, you were telling me you were lying there. You drank something. You said it tasted terrible. And the next thing you know, you became disoriented, and you have flashes of memory. When he was on top of you, lying on top of you, his whole body was on top of you. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Was he clothed?
You're right when you say that my memory is flashes because of being under the influence of whatever was in the glass. My last conscious memory is he was clothed on top of me.
Were you clothed?
And the feel of his, my last recollection, I was. Nancy, the feel of his skin on my face was the very last conscious memory that I have. I remember thinking, his skin is so soft.
Now, you know, when you throw a detail like that at me, that, Linda, is the type of detail that I listened for when I was prosecuting crimes for so many years. The type of detail that when somebody's making up a lie, it's kind of hard to conjure up that kind of a detail, that his face was so soft, or that he was wearing a silver ID bracelet with his wife's name Camille on it. That's the kind of a detail. It's very hard to just sum it up unless it's true. When you got home, first of all, how did you get home?
I have no idea.
Wow.
No idea whatsoever, but my vehicle was in my driveway the following day, so it is obvious. Well, I don't know. Either I was allowed to drive incapacitated, or someone drove my car home and took me home. I don't know.
When you woke up the next morning, did you still have on the same clothes?
I don't remember.
Did you notice anything else about your body? Many women have told me that they felt wet, like they had been licked all over, or that there was a sticky substance on their breasts. Did you, or between their legs? Did you feel anything or notice anything?
This is, I thought I'd wet my pants. I thought I had wet my pants because my clothes were so wet that I thought I had urinated myself the following morning.
You mean the pants that you wore the night before?
My underclothes were wet.
And to this day, you remember that moment?
I do. But I couldn't tell you what my underclothes looked like, or if I don't even know what I wore that night. I just remember thinking, I think I wet my pants.
Unleash the lawyers. Sue Moss, New York. Jeff Gold, New York. Areva Martin, L.A. And, of course, high-profile lawyer Gloria Allred is with us. Sue Moss, when you hear a fact like that and you see Linda Kirkpatrick's demeanor, when she reveals, I thought I wet my pants because my underwear were wet. What do you do with that, Sue Moss?
It rips open your very soul. Let me tell you something. Rape is rape. It doesn't matter if you're John Doe or Bill Cosby. The reality is unfortunately, we're not going to be able to prove a crime beyond a reasonable doubt. But anybody listening to that story, anyone seeing the sincerity, knows it must be true.
You joining us tonight. With me is Linda Kirkpatrick and her lawyer, Gloria Allred, one of a new group of women claiming Bill Cosby assaulted her. 3 of the women claiming he drugged and raped them. A 4th claiming that he forced himself on her. Linda, have you ever divulged that fact before, that when you woke up the next morning, you thought you wet your pants because your underwear were wet?
No. I felt that I had wet my pants. It wasn't something, no.
Did you ever consider going to police?
No. I talked to my sister the following day, and she said he's too powerful, and we have no chance. We can't afford. He's too strong. He's too, just learn a lesson that, he's a cad. Don't go around him. Don't accept his phone calls, etc. I just was too afraid.
He was too strong. He was too strong.
Mm-hmm.
When he
May I say something else,
yes,
Nancy?
Please, yes.
The other women that I met yesterday knew him prior, and he befriended them, and I was a complete stranger. And the circumstances that put me in his room alone, because my tennis partner was also extended the invitation, but happened to work there by coincidence, the fact that I was a complete stranger showed an opportunist, where he saw me there alone, not having known, not predetermining to set it up like perhaps he did with someone else. An opportunist, always on the ready perhaps for his next victim. I did not know him before that afternoon, that tennis tournament.
When he called you and apologized, what were his words? What did he say?
Verbatim, I can't tell you because it's 34 years ago, except for him saying, this is verbatim, let me make it up to you. Come back tonight between the first and second show. That is verbatim. Let me make what up to me?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. When he says, let me make it up to you, I mean, you'd given him a piece of your mind. You had said, I was just there because of my tennis win. How did he respond to that?
Let me make it up to you. Come back between the first and second show. When I first called to say, I've just had to default my match, I'm violently throwing up, I'm sick, whatever you gave me has made me incredibly ill, I'm sorry about what happened last night, but I cannot tell you verbatim what he said.